Hello everyone and welcome to half-arsed top 5s because I can't be arsed making a top 10, so I'm just going to do it half-arsed and make a top 5. And today we are going to be taking a look at 5 reasons you need to play World of Warcraft upcoming expansion Legion. And we're going to jump right in. We're going to jump right in at number 1. Okay, weirdly, we're not doing a top 5, we're doing 5, but number 1 is, of course, the story. Weirdly enough, in a World of Warcraft game, the story in Legion is amazingly good, actually. One of the best things about it is every single zone has its own kind of self-contained story. Each has a theme. Okay, you've got High Mountain as a kind of Tauren-themed zone. You've got, what was it, I forget what it's called. Valshara? Whatever. That one, the Druidy one. You've got a Druidy themed one. You've got a Naga themed one, a Suna. And you've got the Viking themed Stormheim as well. So you've got different. Each story follows a theme. Each zone follows a theme. Each zone has its own kind of self-contained story, which is quite good. It's kind of like Star Wars: The Old Republic's planetary quests. It's a bit like them. But having each zone, the other thing is the dungeons integrate well with each zone's story. Okay, each zone ends with a dungeon, and the dungeon is going to be integral to the story. Obviously, to finish each zone, which you have to do, of course, to not to advance to the next zone, but in order to complete the story, you're going to have to complete each zone, regardless of your level. So you're going to have to do the dungeon at the end of it, and the dungeons are always worth doing. I mean, we'll get to that in another point. But the other big thing about story is it does feature class stories, okay? Legion does have class stories. Each class has an order hall, okay, which is unique to each class. You can only see other players that are playing your class, should we say, and each spec has a unique artifact weapon. Again, that's another point. Okay, so the artifact weapon does have a unique kind of story element, and there's a story element to it for each spec. So definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of class story. It's gonna mean that you're gonna want to play. You're gonna maybe want to play other classes just to see how the story differs between them, because they are different. There are sort of similarities between sort of types of classes, like priests and paladins have quite a similar goal. They both worship the light, of course, both very religious, so there's a religious theme that runs throughout their storyline. So you're going to get similarities between some of the stories, but definitely worth checking out. It's pretty unique. Number 2 we'll get to is dungeons, okay? Dungeons have made a big comeback in Legion, okay? You get, each zone has a dungeon, again, that's integrated to the story, but you can still do the dungeons just as you normally would. You can just queue for the dungeon finder, queue for a random dungeon if you want. But you're gonna be queuing for dungeons at the end of every single zone to get your story quest done. One of the things about dungeons is the scaling difficulty, particularly end game, because before you had normal dungeons, heroic dungeons, and Warlords of Draenor had mythic dungeons. All three of these still exist in Legion. You've still got the normals, then you've got the heroics, then you've got some dungeons that are mythic only. Okay, they're going to be mythic only, and then you've got like mythic plus, and then you're going to get a keystone, and you can make them as difficult as you like. So they're going to scale up as hard as you want them. You can always add. I think you have to complete the difficulty below, and then you get a new difficulty unlocked. So you can get like Mythic plus 5, Mythic plus 6, etc. And, you know, again, rewards such as gear scales with the difficulty. So there's always going to be a reason to go back and do dungeons, because, you know, you can still get decent rewards, and add that to the fact that you've got the Titan Warforged system, which means a piece of gear can theoretically proc all the way up to the current sort of highest item level, which is 895 in Legion. So yeah, the odds of you getting that are quite low. So you could actually get a normal mode item that could proc, although it could actually theoretically, because every 5 item levels has a chance to proc another 5 item levels. So if it procs once, it could proc 5 or 6 times. Obviously, the odds of it proccing in a normal dungeon all the way up are very, very low, but in a mythic sort of +8 or something like that, it's less jumps it's got to make, basically, to get the Titan Warforged. Anyway, moving on to number 3, we have the World Quests, which is quite an interesting system. It's kind of interesting. It reminds me a bit of Guild Wars 2's, what were they called? Renown Heart Quest. It kind of reminds me of them. It's very similar to Diablo 3 as well. If you've done endgame at Diablo 3, you do the you go to all the quest zones. You get different quests to do different things. It's not just fill a bar. At least there is different activities that you can do, different types of quests that are in the world quest. You do get some of the unique rewards there. You can get Titan Forged gear. Again, it can go all the way up to the highest item level in the game. Again, the odds of it doing that are pretty low. There's also legendaries which drop as well. They can drop from quest mobs. They can drop from rare enemies. They've got chances to drop. They're quite low drop rate chances, but the legendaries are quite good. They're 895. Which is the highest item level, and they will have a unique ability. I was playing around with a few of them in beta. Some of them are really good. Some of them are going to be kind of required, I would say. That's the only grey area with legendaries, but some of them may be required for certain classes, because some of them are really, really good. I had to play around, because on the beta you can buy them for gold from a vendor, which won't be in the game. It's just a beta vendor. It won't be in the final game, so again, you can get legendaries. You can only equip one legendary unless you go through your class order hall, in which case you can get the perk that lets you equip 2 legendaries. So it's not as if you can deck your character out in full legendaries like that, but some of them, the bonuses are really, really good. Okay, we'll move on to number 4, which is Multitap. Okay, if you don't know what Multitap is, it's basically up to 5 players on your faction can tag any mob in the game, okay? Those 5 players don't have to be part of your group, okay? So that makes questing a little bit less tedious, especially if you're a healer. Also makes it quicker if you get a quest that, say, kill 5 guys, because if you see someone else on your faction attacking another mob, go help them out. You'll get credit for the kill, you'll get XP, and you'll get your own personal loot table. So there's no real going into a zone and just tagging all the mobs and then, hoping someone else helps you kill them. So it should help out things like healers as well. It makes it really easier. If you're a healer and you see someone else fighting a mob, throw a dot on it. The amount of times as a discipline priest I just threw Purge the Wicked on things that other people were fighting, we both get credit for it, Or if you're fighting like a rare mob or something, I threw out Power Word Shield as doing a few quests with some people. Throw out a Power Word Shield on them, get Atonement up on them, use your Light's Wrath as well, you get the extra 10% damage boost. You might as well use the other player to get yourself a damage boost. But yeah, up to 5 players. It has to be on the same faction though, it doesn't work if you're an Alliance player and a Horde player tags it. How you'll know is if the, what's it called, the nameplate above them turns grey, then you can't hit them, you won't get any credit for it. But if the nameplate is still red as the default color, if it's still red, then yes, you can fight that mob. And you can loot that mob and you'll get your own loot table as well. So it's a bit like Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2 in that kind of way. So it's a very, very, very good system. It stops people just running in, like getting a ranged class to just run in where you're a melee class and you're trying to fight something and someone else sort of next to your enemy. So at least, and it also encourages people to work together. You might as well work together. Like, if a DPS, somebody's DPS spec and they're helping kill that mob, I might as well throw a heal on them. Like, I might as well, even if it's just Power Word Shield, obviously Disciplined Priest, you throw out Atonement and it just gives them healing. And when you do damage. So, they're gaining out of it, you're gaining out of it. It's a good change, actually. Number 5, I would say, is the Artifact Weapon. We covered this in story, okay? Each spec gets a unique weapon. Now, there is story and lore that is attached to each weapon. So if you really like the lore and you like the story of Warcraft, you should check out. You should get all the artifact weapons. You can get all 3 or 4 if you're a druid artifact weapons. Basically, what happens is you pick the first one at level 100, and then when you hit 102, you'll get the other quests available to get the other 2 or 3 if you're a druid. Should point that out, really. But yeah, really quite an interesting thing. They are sort of customizable as well. If you don't like the look of one weapon, you can transmog them if you want. If you hate them, bear in mind the usual restrictions for transmog still apply. You can only like do a one-hand to a one-handed weapon, etc. You know, a two-handed weapon can only become a two-handed weapon. You can't like change a staff into a dagger, for example. That can't be done. But yeah, you can transmog them if you don't like them. You can customize them. They are unlockable customizations. You get artifact power to unlock traits within the weapon. The whole game really is balanced around artifact weapon and artifact traits. So artifact power is something you're going to want to get. You do get artifact research, which increases the rate at which you gain artifact power, which can be used on your main spec or your off spec weapon. You can use it as a catch-up mechanic as well when you eventually max out your main spec as well. It gives you a reason to try other specs as well. You do get the weapon. You don't have to worry about weapons in the expansion. The only thing that upgrades the item level of the weapon is the relics. Relics you get from quests, and I take it you'll get them from dungeons. I got one in the dungeon while I was leveling my priest, so I don't know if you'll get them. Probably get them in raids and things like that. You'll probably get them. They'll be the big thing that upgrades it. They give you a bonus trait as well. It can take the trait beyond its limit, basically. So if your traits are basically limited 3 of 3, it will take it to 4 of 4, essentially. And it's just that bonus trait that goes into it. The bonus traits you can't really control as you level, so I just look at them as a sort of nice little bonus. And did we mention you get Ashbringer as well? Good stuff. You also get what's it called again? I can't remember what Thrall's weapon is. You get that as well if you're a shaman. So there you go. You get some unique weapon. You also get what's her name? Oh shit, I forget her name. Ilaria. Ilaria Windrunner. You get her bow. Exactly. Which is quite cool, actually. Keep forgetting. You've got Sylvanas. Then you've got Verisa, and then I think it's Ilaria. They were the 3 Windrunner sisters. One of them's a zombie. She's undead. One of them's still the Ranger General, I think, and the other one went missing. So Ilaria was the one that went missing. So there you go. I don't remember much of Warcraft lore. It's been a while since we played the Warcraft RTS games, but that's what I remember from them. Okay. So there you go. That's 5 reasons to play Legion. It looks pretty good, Legion, to be honest. I like the emphasis on story, but it's not just the emphasis on story. There's this whole dungeons. Of course, there's raids in it. There's 2 raids coming. One's coming. I think it comes 3 weeks after the expansion launches. The Emerald Nightmare. I haven't done any raid testing, to be honest, in Legion Beta. But, you know, I don't really raid in WoW, so I don't know. Maybe we'll check out raiding later on. But anyway, that is all for this video. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again soon, and goodbye.